Welcome to the 2019 Dongfeng Renner Wuhan Marathon here in Wuhan, the capital city of Hubei Province in central China. That is the famous Wuhan Yangtze River Bridge. Very special place indeed. The Yangtze and the Hanshui, the two rivers, actually cut the city into three parts: Hankou, Hanyang, and Wuchang. They are the three towns of Wuhan, all rich in culture and diversity and surrounded by lakes, and together they give Wuhan a completely unique city structure. The three towns, separated by those two rivers, are all linked by bridges that are so closely connected by waterways. It's a truly spectacular place that can be summed up as one city, two rivers, three towns, four bridges, and five lakes. And for the fourth year, this beautiful city is again the venue for the 2019 Wuhan Marathon. Three events today: the full marathon, the half marathon, and the 13-kilometer run. Perfect weather, as you can see, for running, if a little moist. 84% humidity, a cool 16 degrees and a slight breeze means good conditions for managing your energy as a runner. Most of the terrain is flat and at low altitude, which makes the climate here very good for marathon running. Things getting ready at the start line now at the intersection of Sanyang Road and Zhongshan Avenue, and our honored VIPs are on stage and ready to get things underway. They're the elites, hailing from all around the world and including some of China's top runners. They've been very busy already this year, with a lot of them looking towards the World Championships in Doha later this year. But today, though, they'll be focused on this 42 kilometers first. What a shot there. Not just a course that is praised, but organization as well. Its quality, as you'd expect from such a high-level race. A double label race. In 2018, Wuhan became a member of the China Marathon Majors and got gold label status there. And it's also an IAAF label race. There's the gun. The 2019 Dongfeng Renner Wuhan Marathon is underway. And what a sight that is. Runners streaming across the start-finish line. All three events with the same start point today: the full, the half, and the 13-kilometer run. And all along the way, cheering fans at the side of the road. That's how much the people of Wuhan love their city and this marathon, and they are always reaching out to and pumping up the runners as they go past. That's another great shot from above of the runners. The elites and pacers, as you'd expect, almost sprinting off. They will settle into their race pace very soon, but this opening stretch, always good to release some of that extra anticipation from waiting before the start. Taking the first corner there and already forming up into a nice leading pack, and behind them, well, what can only be described as an army of competitors here today. Have a look at that. Maybe they've come out to better personal bests, maybe it's to support a local charity, or maybe it's just to join in the excellent atmosphere here in Wuhan. And that is a nice sight running by the VIPs. Water and refreshment stops will obviously be on hand for the runners at the 2.5 or 5 kilometer intervals, in keeping with being such a high race. Big thanks, of course, to our VIPs there from the Chinese Athletic Association, the Hubei Provincial Sports Bureau, and Wuhan Municipal Government, and to all the logistics staffs and stewards and everyone involved in setting this up. Those are the actual numbers for today. Again, a huge amount of people subscribed, and from that, another record turnout running here in Wuhan has become a target for a lot of runners. 155,000 people subscribed for this 2019 edition, making it the most subscribed marathon event in the country. From that number, 24,000 were drawn, 8,000 in the full marathon, 8,000 for the half marathon, and 8,000 for the 13-kilometer run. Incredible numbers, but expected in a way, as this is one of the most recognized marathons in China, and that is high praise when you consider the likes of Beijing and Shanghai and some of the other regions as well, Xiamen, Zhuzhou, Lanzhou. Big smiles and waves from some of the local runners, most likely Wuhan city residents themselves, and some sporting the official Wuhan runners' outfits. I can see the yellow tops in there as well. But not only specially designed products for this year's marathon, I can tell you the winners' medals as well were custom made, and we'll be seeing them at the podium ceremony for the winners at the end. Right now, settling into the opening minutes. Timing vehicles are in place, as you can see, and as always, you can expect them to be leading the field over these Wuhan city roads that have been closed off, of course, and will be opened in various stages throughout the day. Meanwhile, back at the start line, it's an endless stream of runners, all eagerly getting underway, and there you can see more of those official 2019 Wuhan Marathon outfits, blue and yellow. You might not set a personal best on the day, but at least you do get to keep a shirt as a souvenir for a great day out Wonderful to see these guys, as always, at any marathon. It's never just about the elites, it's about the spirit of running and taking in the charm of the Yangtze River and East Lake. Here are the leading men, just about to hit 3 kilometers, and that's a good pace they're showing. Clear roads ahead of them, and just entering a very famous part of Wuhan City. This is Zhongshan Avenue, one of the first famous sites that the runners will be passing today. Built in 1906 and with a history of 110 years. The Zhongshan Avenue in Wuhan is actually the first road named Zhongshan in China. There are many, but this was the first, built on the remnants of the old city wall. And this morning, once again, some of the best distance runners in the world are using it. They're looking like they've settled into their race rhythm, which means we have time to check out who's in the field today. Names to watch: well, Felix Kepto-Kewa for sure, Belachu Alamehu Ameta, he's run a 2:09 before in Dubai, and can't forget Andrew Ben Kimutai, looking for his first win in 4 attempts here in China. Got to be considered as one of the favorites. Not surprising to see Kenya and Ethiopia represented well, but also some of China's best in there as well. Dongguo Jian wearing the number 12 bib, saw him put in some great runs already this year in Xiamen and Yingwuzhou last month. Back with the elites now. Good to see a couple of local runners keeping pace well with the Kenyans, Ethiopians, and other world runners in that leading pack. Looks to be about 10 strong at this moment in time, just past the 3.4 kilometer mark, all showing good running style and form at the start. Nice upright frame that keeps the oxygen flowing around the body. Good stride length and frequency, and good arm pivot and swing as well. More important than you think, as it does really help keep that upright posture. They're about to enter the next of the famous areas in Wuhan. This is the Hankou marshlands. Look how green that is on the banks of the river. That is the largest river beach cultural park in Asia, at around 9 kilometers in length, but over 1 million square meters in area. Lots of activities in there and ecosystems development right on the bank. Beautiful shot from the helicopter, and you can see the paths and roads cutting through the marshland with the runners passing on that main artery on the right of your screen. Really are so many spectacular sights on the banks of the 2 rivers that meet here in Wuhan. Really great place to visit, and as you can imagine, a lot of tourists from around the world do come every year. Let's check in again with the men's elites as they approach the 5 kilometer mark. I can see Ken Kiplagat, who has settled in on the left side, the Moroccan runner Ziani Mohammed in the middle, just behind the paces, and Ken Limo in the red bib on the other flank. But as we said earlier, still a pretty big leading pack at this moment, and sure to be some lead changes in this cloudy and cool climate today, but still a good, strong pace shown by all. They're each pushing each other on and running at just under 3 minutes per kilometer. Well off the world record pace, of course, set by Eliud Kipchoge. To come anywhere near that, you'd need to be running 2 minute 46 or 47. So most probably no world record today, but that wasn't really expected. What is a course record, hopefully. That might be well in the sights for some of these runners today. And we might be 10 minutes in already, but as you can see, the start line is still pumping out competitors, and they can be seen from very high up. What a turnout today. As I said, the full marathon attracted 66,500 applicants, jumping up 26% from last year, with the number of applicants for the half marathon reaching 55,500. That's up 18%. The men accounted for 69%, and runners from other provinces and other countries took up 69%, with the top 3 provinces being Guangdong, Beijing, and Hunan, with an age range of 16 to 85 years old. Amazing stats. And as you can see, they come from all walks of life. Great to see them smiling as they make their way through this wonderful city that has such a history. You can find traces of ancient imperial China in places, but also a variety of different types of buildings and areas from different eras. Looks great from the sky, but it looks even better when you're down on the ground as well. But it's not just about beauty. Wuhan is in China's economic geographic center, making it an important comprehensive transportation hub that connects the east to west and south to north. It's the largest inland port on the middle reaches of the Yangtze River, and a major stop of the Beijing-Guangzhou Railway. Means a lot of business and trade flows through here. What a beautiful place. And now with the Wuhan Marathon into its 4th year, it is gaining popularity and recognition from the distance running world of sports as well. And so it should. And that reputation will be further enhanced later this year when the city will host the 7th CISM Military World Games. That will feature 27 sports, including swimming, track and field and basketball. It's a huge event to stage, and everybody here is looking forward to it. Meanwhile, back on track, and it's time to check in with the women's leading group as we approach the first quarter of an hour completed for the marathon. Quite a sizable pack there, just trying to make out some of the leaders, and you can just see them right in the middle of that pack. Seems to be 3, maybe 4 of them. And until we can, let's have a look at the field. Again, Kenya, Ethiopia and Morocco as the international countries taking part. Names to watch out for: the Kenyan duo Kellen Waitira and Tekle Kirongo, Ethiopian Teshe Maru, and there's a big name, Fantu Jima from Ethiopia. Has already picked up a couple of thirds this year and has run sub 2:30, but still looking for her first marathon title. Maybe that could be here today. And that pack seems to have spread out a bit more, as some of the male runners in there have opted for a wider line on this stretch of circuit. Good view here of both the men's elites and the women's elites. And as you can see, both sets of runners looking good so far. No signs that any of them are carrying any injuries or strains into this event, all moving fluidly and keeping that very good pace on. Now this is the course. It starts at the intersection of Sanyang Road and Zhongshan Avenue. The course goes through the main axis of the Yangtze River, the green heart of the East Lake, and passes by a number of city sites, including Wuhan Yangtze Bridge and the Yellow Crane Tower. That's where the 13-kilometer run finishes. The half marathon finishes at the Hubei Provincial Library, and when they do split, the full marathon will then start to weave its way through the city and soon to the shore of the East Lake. That's the 25-kilometer mark at Donghu South Road. The runners then continue to circle the East Lake and break north onto Yanhu Avenue. That zigzags across the lake itself, and at 36 kilometers they hit land again at Liyan Square, and then a few key turns for the last 6 kilometers before finishing up at Wuhan Happy Valley. Great course for all. And back on that course, and as you can see, the loyal Wuhan fans cheering on the runners at every turn. That's a great sight to see, and that's also one of the many traditional art performances that are also along the way, be it wushu or traditional music or dance. Some of the best troops and groups in Wuhan have been practicing for many months to be here for today. There's the men's elite group again, now closing in on the 6-kilometer mark, just under 17 minutes, and we can see the pack stretching out a little. I can still see the pink bib of Ziani Mohammed fighting for the lead there, and that's a great shot. If you look at the bottom of your screen, you can just see there that yellow river of runners pouring through this wonderful built-up area in the middle of the city. This is near Wusheng Road, where the runners will meet water for the first time in the form of the Hanjin River. Now getting back to the men's leading group at 6.6 kilometers, and it's still, as you can see, Ziani nicely placed in the middle. Ken Kiplagat has dropped back a little on the right side, while on the left side I can see Limo, Adebe, and right next to them Andrew Kimatai. Still quite a big pack with the 2 paces up front in the bright yellow bibs, Daniel Bo and Laban Moiben, both from Kenya, and both setting a good pace for the field as they head uphill. It is quite a flat course here, but when the elevations come, they are felt very clearly. Uphill sections will greatly increase the burden, of course, on the heart and lungs, while the downhill puts more pressure on the knee joints. Just passing another traditional performance there. That might take their mind off the hill for a few seconds. And the runners now passing through Jushin Terrace, which was built in the Northern Song Dynasty, has great musical history. And together with the Yellow Crane Tower and Xinchuan Pavilion, form Wuhan's 3 major attractions. Must-see stuff if you should ever find yourself here. Doubt these guys will be taking those sights in too deeply though, as it is around about now at 7 to 10 kilometers. They're still heading uphill that you need to really focus. That is the incredible view of the Xinchuan Bridge, a classic arch bridge, and the 4th bridge on the Han River, also known as the Rainbow Bridge, mainly because of that shape. 4 lanes connecting Yanhe Avenue with Hanan Road, one of the many beautiful bridges in the City of Rivers, and a great shot from the helicopter. Have a look at that, absolutely jaw-dropping sight. So the runners now past the 7-kilometer mark, which means they have made the left turn towards the Changjiang River and have just passed Moon Lake, still laboring slightly with the incline, as you can see. Some footfalls a bit heavier, a few of the runners also leaning into the incline, still mild though, rising about 30 meters over 3 odd kilometers. This is the steepest part of the whole 42, which is why they need to be very focused right now. now as they approach possibly the most famous bridge in Wuhan. Have a look at that. It sits between Snake Mountain and Turtle Mountain, the Wuhan Yangtze River Bridge, the first bridge over the Yangtze River since the establishment of New China. Hundreds and hundreds of years it's been a dream to cross the river, and in 1950 it was built. More than 30 years have passed since then, and of course there were other bridges that have since come since then, but this was the first one, and what a sight that is. A real treat for the runners to be crossing that bridge today. One of the major monuments in Wuhan, obviously, and here they come, making their way onto the bridge, and still the pack has expanded and compressed, but it still contains around 10 of the leaders, with the pacers a few meters in front. More support from the fans here as well, and that is the epic view from the helicopter as the field enters the part of the course that is centered around some of the rich waterways and the East Lake. That literally creates the shape of the city here in Wuhan. I can still see Ken Kiplagat, Debe, Ziani, and Kimutai in that leading pack, even from above, and all still not showing any signs of having any problems. One great thing about running on any bridge, be it in China or around the world, is that you can be assured of two things. One of which is a sure footing on a good surface, and that the gradient on any bridge will be pretty uniform as well. It's also very wide in terms of keeping focus, and there is the awesome view, of course, and the feeling of running over water as well. But this is still not the biggest bridge they'll be running on. That's up ahead at kilometer 26 when they head north around and through, actually, the East Lake, coming up to the 30-minute mark now with almost 10 kilometers clocked. So still on a good elite pace, but you'd have to say that a pack that big might not be able to all sustain such a fast pace. Sure to see some more expansion here, and expecting a few to fall back, of course, around that famous 21-kilometer mark. And the next task for them is to circle clockwise for roughly 2 kilometers around another famous area here in Wuhan. That's a fantastic shot of the Yellow Crane Tower, one of the 3 main attractions in terms of cultural history. How beautiful is that? This is Snake Mountain, and that gorgeous tower sits on top of it. 5 floors, more than 50 meters high, and inside, if you do get to visit it, bronze statues, incredible bronze statues. Time to check back in with both the leading groups, men on the left and women on the right, and on the course, while the women roughly 1.4 kilometers back from the men closing in on 12 kilometers. That should see them leaving the Yellow Crane Tower loop. And now as the helicopter circles back for us, we get to have a quick sweeping glimpse of the great Han River, the river that actually named a dynasty. Yes, the famous Han Dynasty got its name from this ancient waterway, also known by its ancient names Han Shui and Han Jiang, the left tributary of the Yangtze River in central China, and is actually the longest tributary as well. And while that heli swings back into position, let's get to the motos that are right next to the runners at every step, and it's a good opportunity to have a look at where the big names are in the women's field. I can see Fantujima in the blue top furthest from the camera, Kirongo and Maru, the Kenyan Kirongo in the burgundy red bib, and I think I can just spot one of the Chinese runners in that leading pack as well. I'm guessing from her height, that looks a lot like Li Dan. All the ladies showing some strong form, maybe a little bit less upright as she should be from Kirongo, but Jima and Maru definitely using their middle gear as well and looking good so far. And there you can see the comparative styles between both the leading groups, and the common factors are there. The forward lean to create the momentum, and then the good arm pivot in there as well. Here the official splits at 31 minutes. Douglas Kiplagat leading the pack, and there are just seconds between him, Ziani and Kiplagat. Bihan, Belachu, Tafesi and Limon are identified as the other runners in that leading men's pack, with the last 3 more than a minute back, and that is the expansion I was talking about, making a right turn at 12.2 kilometers, and that should be onto Linjiang Avenue, meaning they are heading north again. And ahead of them, the Shintai Grand Theater on the shore of Moon Lake and near the Han River next to the Jushin Pavilion. Both together form the core of the Moon Lake Cultural Theme Park, covering an area of 24,000 square meters. It's got 1,800 seats in there. It's a massive staging area, quite a sight to see, and obviously the central performance hub for the arts and music industry here in Wuhan. And right next to that, the third bridge on the Han River with its own unique design, the Jianghan Bridge. So many bridges in this city, and each with a specialized design and use to really open up the city and connect the rivers and lakes. Great views from the helicopters, as always, of Wuhan City, while we wait for the runners to make their way up Linjiang Avenue before they cut across to the East Lake for the second half of the marathon. It's actually worth staying with the helicopter for a bit, as it's on a golden path right now in terms of sightseeing. First we saw the Jianghan Bridge, and now Nananzui near the Xingchuan Pavilion in Hanyang. Nananzui is an extraordinary place in China. It's known as the first corner of China because it is the exact meeting point where China's largest river, the Yangtze, meets its largest tributary, the Han. And you can see that right there. Two such influential waterways that flow into one special place, the center of central China in some ways, if you know what I mean. And we can't leave this place without another look at the Yangtze itself from the other bank. 6,300 kilometers long, longest river in Asia, third longest in the world, and the only one to flow entirely within one country. It starts in the Tibetan Plateau and flows towards the East China Sea. And the Yangtze has played such a major role in the history and culture and economy of China for thousands of years. Huge river in size and impact, and great shots from the heli. Now back with the men's leading group, and they are now running under the Yangtze River Bridge and along Linjiang Avenue as expected, still keeping a tight formation. I can see the Moroccan Ziani has now moved to the left side of the leading pack. Very easy to distinguish Ziani from his bib. All enjoying the weather. April, probably the most comfortable month of the year in Wuhan. Very green with a lot of flowers blooming. In fact, it's actually called the New Flower City because of that. Great to see the fans still waving and cheering our runners on. And that is one of the most famous runners in China right now, Dong Guojian. I had the pleasure of watching him run both in Xiamen and Yingwuzhou this year. Good results in both. I remember a strong podium for him last month in Yingwuzhou, and he should be heading to the Wood World Championships in Qatar in October based on his results so far this year, as one of those marathons was a direct qualifying event for that. Here's another of China's leading runners, Guan Yousheng. Very stable and reliable, doesn't have to push himself or break his rhythm. Once he settles into it, he can maintain well, and that usually lets him see off a great many rivals. And this is Jia Erinjia up in the leading pack. Solid stuff from him. Again, you can see this close angle, the straightness of the running posture, the good arms quite close to the body, a nice easy swing. If you do run looking down, you're curtailing the amount of oxygen you're taking in, and you need to keep that oxy coming in to maintain the output from your VO2 max engine. That's the engine that takes in oxygen and converts it to energy. Not the only process, but one of the key ones. Another look at both the leading packs now. This is the men approaching 15 kilometers and the women closing in on 13 kilometers. That means the men will be aiming soon for the turn on to Xinsheng Avenue, while the women are at the start of that riverside Linjiang Avenue stretch, and still the three leading women tucked in nicely within the pack. So almost paces on all sides for the likes of Fantujima, Maru and Kirongo. And there you can see behind the elites, the Army of Yellow crossing the bridge. Back at this still quite large pack of men's elites. At least they're not running in isolation, I guess. That's a different mental challenge from running alongside paces or rivals. You can always match your step to them, as we just saw in the chat between Ziani and Daniel Bohr, the pacer. But in isolation, you have to really think and mark yourself and check yourself. So Ziani Mohammed now slips back to the right side of the pack, and I can just see Dong Guojian running in 7th or 8th. You can just glimpse him between the big frames of the two pacers, and I can still recognize Belachu Ameta and Ken Kiplagat. So this pack still going strong right from the start. There are the official split times at 15 kilometers. Significant split time to note. And obviously it's Belachu Ameta currently leading out Ziani and Berhan, with Kiplagat following, and then Dong Guojian and Yang Xiaohui. So far so good for all of them, all within striking distance of each other as they start to build towards the halfway mark. And here are the women, and that is looking a little bit labored from Kirongo on this right side. You can just see the arms a little out of sync at the moment. Footfalls are definitely a little heavier, and her shoulders seem to be leaning inwards. Have to keep an eye on her. Tashay Maru, though, in stark contrast, seems to be far more stable in the yellow bib. Meanwhile, the men's group are about to hit the 1 hour mark in just under 5 minutes. This is an interesting stretch of the course, as you can see, down and under the bridge, and the road almost bottoms out there and starts a gentle incline up. This is the approach to Sand Lake, which means another one of Wuhan's famous landmarks is just ahead of them. And a close-up, when we do get to it, will give us a little bit of an idea as to what's going on. Xiani powering ahead at this stage, and the two Chinese runners, Dongguo Zhen and Jie Erinji, are keeping pace nicely. There are the two leading packs once again, and the distance between them has increased now, with the men at 18.5 kilometers and the women at 2.5 kilometers back. Here are the ladies' splits for 15 kilometers, and it's confirmed Tshie Maru ahead of Ruth Batira. Haven't said much about her and should do, as she is one of the main contenders for this. Fan Tujima in third, all just seconds between them, and China's Li Zixuan leading the national women, as we have seen her do on so many occasions before. Strong pack here in the women's field for the 2019 Dongfeng Renault Wuhan Marathon, and all still in the fight. And this is the landmark that I was talking about. The next landmark up, the Shahu Bridge over the Sand Lake, Wuhan's largest cantilevered wing box girder bridge, and some have called it the most beautiful bridge across the lake in Wuhan. But I can tell you that's probably a topic of debate, as there are so many unique bridges around here. Today, though, it's one of these special bridges that have been picked for these elite runners, and again, a uniform surface for them to run on, flat and designed that way, so an easier stretch for them relatively. All these runners looking like they are moving at close to optimum pace, looking for the quick carb burn as usual. I'm sure they all would have been carb loading in the days leading up to this race. Pretty standard practice. Carbs give you a shorter burn than burning fat, so always good to stock up on carbs before you distance run. Heading off the Shahu Bridge now. Not the last bridge they will cross, but a very nice one indeed. This is the finish point for one of the events, the 13-kilometer run. This is the 1911 Revolution Museum, built in that beautiful V shape, built by Wuhan City to commemorate the 100th anniversary of the first uprising of the 1911 revolution in Wuchang. The museum is the core building in the Shaoyi Cultural Zone, and the square next to it, the museum, is Shaoyi Square. That's the actual finish point for the healthy 13-kilometer run. Great spot for these fun runners to celebrate a great day out of running here in Wuhan. And as we soak in those sights, getting back to the course now, and as you can see, we have passed the hour mark and are fast approaching the 21-kilometer marker. And as we sight the leading pack through the tunnel, it actually looks like the 20-kilometer marker has again created two separate packs. And if we check in with the women's field as well, who, remember, are only a couple of kilometers back, they too are experiencing a split of sorts in their pack as well. And just staying with them for a bit, Tshie Maru still looking sprightly and running very well, and still a little bit more labored from Tekla Kirongo. That is Li Zixuan, top China runner, who's topping all the Chinese runners here right now and showing a good running style and rhythm, approaching the halfway mark. Well done from Li. Looks like she's on her way to another great result, and in a marathon that is prized on the national circuit. Once again, only 4 years old this year, but a meteoric rise for this event. In 2016, in its debut year, it was awarded the bronze medal from the Chinese Athletic Association. In 2017, it won the gold medal, and add to that IAAF rated as well, all in just 4 years. There are the exact figures as we look at both groups. 1 hour, 7 minutes in, the men at 21.6 kilometers, led by Ziani Mohammed from Morocco, and the women at 19.3 kilometers. But as you can see from the 20-kilometer split times, not very much at all between the top three men. So still a lot more to come from this front men's leading pack, and a course record still very much on, if they can keep this up as they make the turnaround at Bailu Road, which means more water ahead as they make a beeline now for that East Lake. But before they reach that, it is straight past the Eagle Flying Platform. There it is. It is said that the Eagle Platform got its name because of a famous poet, Li Bai, who once watched an eagle that was released to fish here way back in the Tang Dynasty. Interesting backstory once again to another well-known famous area in Wuhan for the runners to pass. Now, time to check in with the leading women's pack once more, now at 21.1 kilometers, which places them just at the end of Chuhan Road and moving towards Bailu Road, which gives us time to look out the helicopter, which is now above the sprawling campus of Wuhan University. It is one of the best universities in the country and has produced a number of outstanding talents for China. Wuhan University has been perennially ranked among the top-tier universities in China. Nationally, it was ranked 4th in 2016 and 3rd in 2017, due to its academic excellence, and it's also been selected as a Chinese Ministry of Education Class A double first-class university. Wow! Located at Luozhi Hill there, and is regarded by many as one of the most beautiful campuses in China. Quick check back with the leading men, and all still looking good there. The pace is still going strong. I can see Dong Guozhen at the back of the pack, Belachu, Ameta leading, and Limo on the flank. And this is the stunning area that the runners will be running through and around for the last portion of the race. The East Lake is one of the most famous lakes located inside any city area in China. Vast waterscape, beautiful scenery, so special that Wuhan is actually building an ecological green heart around it, which will turn the city of hundreds of lakes into a livable waterfront ecological green city and a model Chinese city. Outstanding place indeed, and we are very lucky to be here today. There is a saying, lakes, the eyes of a city, represent the past, present, and future of that city, and this, the second largest lake in the city of China, is Wuhan in water. Back to the race now, and here's another look at both leading groups. The men now at 25.38 kilometers, and the women almost 3 kilometers back at 22.63. I can still see Fantujima and Teshe Maru leading the way there. They have both been absolutely rock solid so far today. Great performance, and don't forget, Fantujima still looking for her first marathon title. Wouldn't it be something special if she could pick it up here today in Wuhan? For the men, it looks like Limo has come through from the right side. No sign of Ziani anymore. We'll have to wait and see what has happened to the Moroccan, leading for much of this race, don't forget, but may have dropped off. And now a closer look at the ladies just behind that front runner, and we can see that Ruth Wahira has edged ahead of Fantujima, but look at the determination and focus on both their faces. This is a tough part of the race, just past halfway, and they are looking strong. Back with the men, and they're now starting to cross the river by way of Donghu South Road. What a beautiful place to run in. Dong Guozhen there, just keeping with the pack. He's the top Chinese runner now, and ahead of him, Ziani, Kipragut, and Kiplagat. But keep an eye on Ben Kimitai as he's edging up the table. He may be executing the perfect negative split, which means he's been saving his energy in the first half for a faster second half of the race. Very common strategy. Now this is Chuehan Street, which lies at the south of Chu River. It is the longest city commercial pedestrian street in China and possibly worldwide. No kidding. It is massive. The red buildings are the architectural style of the Republican period. A lot of buildings here from that era, and all looking great. Meanwhile, back on the course, a sizable change indeed, as you can see immediately, picking up the action at the 28-kilometer mark for men and 24.7 for women. But have a look at that. We noticed Ben Kimtai running faster and faster, but now he is out on his own, running in isolation, and he has left his rivals behind in some spectacular fashion over the course of just 4 kilometers. Looking good, definitely. And for the women, still as close as it has been. Waitira, Jima, and Kirongo looking much better now after laboring a little earlier in the race. But the focus right now is on this man, Kenyan Andrew Ben Kimitai. You can see the likes of Limo and Ziani now trailing him. How far they are behind him. Wow, well, that only happened in just a few kilometers. It may have been a gradual increase in pace from Kimtai or a gradual decrease from the pack, but either way, it's Ben Kimtai looking good at the 1.5 hour mark. Now, it might be a slight downhill, so a slight change in his running style, tiny bit. Because of that downhill, you might enlarge your swing, I should say. That can help maintain balance, but that will only work if there is a lot of stability around the pelvis and core. Let's not forget the other runners today as well. Some 24,000 runners in total, and as you can see, they are of every age and every background, many of them wearing the official Wuhan Marathon outfit, and they get to benefit from those many performances and shows that line the course. Another drum performance there. Just a great day out here in Wuhan, and you can expect this to be happening for many years to come. This is still just the 4th year of the marathon. Back with the ladies again, and this looks like Donghu South Road, so they too now entering the East Lake area. Jima, Maru, Waitira, and Kirongo still very close between them all, and as you can see, well, as they make their way to the top of the course, still many runners making their way around the course. That's the Yellow Crane Tower that seems to have a steady flood of runners circling it, and that must seem a long way back for our leader from Kenya, Andrew Ben Kimtai. And as you can see from the 30-kilometer split times, he's commanding this. And look at the distance now between himself, Limo, and the rest. They were so close for so long in this race, but now it's broken apart, and that favored Ben Kimtai. Kenyan runs so naturally gifted at distance running due to the altitude of Kenya. It means their VO2 max capacity is unbelievable. Now here's another beautiful place to be in Wuhan. Opened in 2016, the East Lake Greenway, the 28.7 kilometer long and kind of a central hub that connects the 3 scenic spots in East Lake area. Now extensively used by thousands of people and tourists just to hang out or for exercise. So really epic place, as you can see. And back with our outright leader Ben Kimtai, and as you can see, it's just him and the race stewards right now. Big thanks to all of them once again. Of course, today's race manned by some 7,000 volunteers at 7 refreshment stations and 15 water stations. It's a lot of work, and we thank them for their efforts. You can see them lining the roads there, most in raincoats today, as there has been a light shower from these clouds, but working hard nevertheless, and literally keeping these runners alive with their efforts. Checking in with both groups again at the 30-kilometer mark for the women and the 35-kilometer mark for the men, so that gap increasing as it has been all morning. Still nobody troubling Ben Kimtai, who has extended his lead over Belachua Meta, and it's a steady feat of Teshe Maru leading the women's field from a revitalized Tekla Kirongo. And here the exact numbers at the 30-kilometer mark. Still very close between the top 2 chasing their personal best. For Maru, that's a 2:34.11, and for Kirongo, a 2:32.10. We'll have to wait to see if they do break them. For Fantujima there in the blue, she has an even faster personal best, sub 2:30, 2:26.14. Very fast indeed, and still looking it and focused here deep into the second half of the marathon. Meanwhile, back with the men, and it's a bit of hydration for Ben Kimtai, who's now back on land on the other side of the lake and heading for Liyuan Square, which is the general turning point as the course heads to the finish in Happy Valley. Home stretch for him in sight, and as you can see from the 35-kilometer split times for the men, it is a pure state of running isolation for Ben, who's clear to chase his personal best of 2:08.32. Belachua Meta is some way back in second. Edwin Kiewa has lasted well to be third, and Ken Kepligat Nemo hanging in there in fourth. And as for these guys, always time to salute the spirit and effort from all the runners taking part today. At this point, they are spread out all over the city. That's the gap between the 2 leading groups at this stage, just hitting the 2-hour mark, and the men almost 6 kilometers ahead now of the women, approaching kilometer 34. Not long for both sets of runners now into the final phase with less than 10 kilometers to go. A different mental challenge, but the one that could lead to a great result, which is what this man, Andrew Ben Kimtai from Kenya, is currently on course for. He hung back in the quite large leading pack for the first half of the marathon, and then made his negative split, and just after the halfway mark left his rivals behind. Great steady strategy in running from him, and if he does break the course record or his personal best, well, you'd have to say it has been deserved. He's already notched up a 3rd place in Chongqing, a runner-up finish in 2017, and an 8th place finish in Lanzhou last year. Look at those stats for today. We can't forget that personal best, of course, 2:08.32 he achieved last year in Seville. He's into the last stretch now, approaching the Happy Valley area, and he's still showing great posture, running rhythm, and focus. And he's at the last out. Some serious competition from his own countrymen, the Ethiopian runners, as well. They love to battle each other out at each event. And of course, China's top runners on top of that. I can tell you the Dongguo Zhen is still in a solid 4th, topping the national entrance list. We have to take our hats off to the likes of Ken Kipligat Limo, Ziani Mohammed, who was strong early leader, and Belachu Ameta. No chance from this point for them to catch Ben Kimtai, unless something truly unbelievable and unfortunate happens to the 29-year-old. And here he is on the final straight, running to the cheers of the crowds amassed at the finish line. Just a few meters for him now. Sadly, it won't be the 2:08.32 or better, but it's looking good for a course record. Here he comes, and he can take it at his own pace, as he is some 40-odd seconds ahead of anyone else, and he has been for a while. There's the finish line, and you can see from the clock it's going to be fast. Few more paces for Andrew Ben Kimtai, and he takes the 2019 Dongfeng Renner Wuhan Marathon with a very fast time, 2:10.06 beating the course record of 2:11:15 set in 2016. He launched a powerful charge to seize the lead, and when he hit the 30-kilometer mark, the Kenyan was already 15 seconds ahead of the chasers. Unchallenged, he then widened the gap to 41 seconds at 35 kilometers and never looked back before breaking that tape. Ethiopia coming in second here. This is Belachu, who was always in that front pack. He couldn't accelerate to match Kimutai, but he held his own, and he comes through. Also no pressure at all on him. He's a 2:09.49 best performer who set that in Dubai in 2016. Very close to that time now, as you can see, but not quite. And he makes the final push through the cheering crowds. There they are, there he is, and he crosses the line with a 2:10.59 to finish second. Well done to Belachu Meta. It's quickly off to the recovery area, as always, to start reloading those lost minerals and energy. Great organization they have here at the finish line. Full facilities for all those winners. They can be assured of the best post-race remedies as you'd find in any label grade road race. And as we look down at the finish line, just waiting now for third place to come through. And as you can see, the weather not the best, and it's the 39-year-old Kiowa to take third place in 2:11.26. Some might be surprised, as he was quite obscure in that pack of 11 we had early on, but it's the end of the race that always counts. He is himself a podium. Well done to Kiowa. And with our 3 medal winners finished in the men's, we can turn our full focus to the women's battle. And as you can see, with just 4 kilometers left, it is 4 of the best. They've been there fighting amongst each other for the lead from the very start. Jimmer on the left of your screen still looking strong, but how can you not say the same for Maru next to her, Waitira and Kirongo in the red. And it's Kirongo that is just ahead right now, but it is too close to call. And here is the finishing area as seen from the sky. Happy Valley, the cultural theme park, Asia's first double-track wooden roller coasters in there, first 720 ring roller coasters in there, 4D cinemas in there. It's Wuhan's largest professional theater, more than 100 entertainment experience programs, and a fitting end for a grand marathon. What a spectacle there with the lake in the background and all that lush greenery between them. Now back with the 4 women as they approach the 40-kilometer mark, which means it's just 2 kilometers of straight road up to the finish line, roughly from here. Nice and flat and very level at about 30 meters above sea level, as it has been constantly since the 23rd kilometer. I can see Kirongo and Maru now taking the initiative and trying to push ahead of Jimmer and Waitira as they make the turn onto that last road. The gradients have been simple, and sometimes you can adjust your stride and stride frequency according to the slope to maximize your output. And I'm sure that's what all 4 of these women have done to lessen the toll of climbing and descending in those sections of the course. Still very much a fight on here though in Wuhan, and it looks like the last 2 kilometers could bring us some sensational headlines from the women's full marathon this year. And back behind them, quite a number of kilometers back, that looks like Donghu South Road by the lake. Still some spirited runners coming through there. Big round of applause for these guys who bring the atmosphere with them and always show great resolve, whatever their times may be. All smiles all the time, and even in cool, cloudy, and rainy conditions today. That's the true spirit of Wuhan coming through right there from the community that has built itself around this wonderful race over the last 4 years. Great sight and a great turnout of people here today. Now back with the 4 ladies that all want to win this race, and in all honesty, they all look like they have a chance. Surely we must see one of them break through, but they've been matching each other stride for stride at times and still are here as they rapidly approach the 40-kilometer mark that will finally unlock the last straight-ish road. Still a few things to tackle, but with the end in sight, they're ready for it. No visible signs yet of tiring for any of them, and it's anybody's guess as to who will push through. A great finish possibly in sight at this point for all of us. And as you can see from the umbrellas lining the road, quite a steady drizzle coming down now as well, which is great to help cool down the body, of course, but it also means the road is going to have a little less traction on it. And these ladies, even with the most state-of-the-art footwear, will have to watch each step as they all have very tired legs, and they don't want to make even the slightest miscalculation, as that could lose precious ground to their rivals. But it could also mean, of course, injury as well. Now 2:21 on the clock, roughly 2 kilometers to go. We can see that Waitira has taken a wide line and left the pack. A sub 2:30 is still on at this moment, so she has to remain focused if she's going to come through. That's the view from above of the turn from the helicopter, and we can see now that the wide line has led to a loss in position for, I'm expecting, Waitira, but maybe this is where big things are going to happen. There they are. You can see all four of them. If any of them lose pace through that turn, then it will be gifting an opportunity to the rest. And that looks like exactly what has happened. It looks like Fantujima and Maru are the quickest through the turn, with Kirongo slightly back now in third, and Waitira, maybe due to that wide line earlier, is now the fourth in position. And look at the way Fantujima is pulling away now. She had some extra gas for sure, and now she's powering away from Maru, who must be looking on in disbelief at the amount of energy and power that Fantujima is showing. But how many times have we seen this lady do this? And this year, in fact. She's notched up a couple of third places already and has that sub 2:30 personal best of 2:26.14, of course, which is amazingly fast. And that was, of course, set in 2016, but still looking for her maiden overall title win. And maybe it's that all-out desire that is pushing her here. Look at the distance she's built up now over second place, but we must also highlight her strategy. She literally waited till after the 40-kilometer mark to make her move. She could have pulled the trigger at any point during the race, as all four ladies were running in close proximity to each other in that larger pack of male runners for a long time before they finally broke away themselves. Bided her time and then turned on the jets when she needed to. Look at those split times and information for her today. Consistent, reliable and pacey, and that's what wins you races. Great fight back initially from Maru. She tried to match what Jima was doing, but she realized quickly that Jima was too fast, and any further attacks might wreck her own finish. Sometimes you just have to settle for second, but not this lady, not this time, and this time could be and should be her first win. History in the making as she makes the turn, roughly 1 kilometer left now. Allows the arms to just glide around that corner. That was a nice touch. She knows now that this is looking very good indeed. Running in isolation, which is unbelievable when you think it was shoulder to shoulder with three other ladies just 2 kilometers ago. That's how quickly things can change in a marathon, and especially near the end. And that's exactly what has happened here. That end may still be a way to go for some of the other runners, of course, on the course. And there they are. And based on what we can see, they're all still smiling, if not a little bit exhausted. We all hope that they have hit whatever personal targets that they may have set for themselves today. Good to see them, as always, taking part in such numbers here in Wuhan. Now, not long left for 31-year-old Fantujima. Only been running the classic full distance for about 8 years. Debuted in 2011, but now all that competition and training is paying off. She showed some quick awareness in reading the situation at the key corner at 40 kilometers and even on this slightly wet track. And you can see the moisture on it. Not a lot, but some. She still manages to up her actual stride rate, almost a mini sprint, to start distancing herself from the rest. It took a lot of guts, but it's paid off, and she looks to have the energy stocks to complement that brave decision. Absolutely nothing to stop her now. In summary, what happened here in the women's field? Well, a group of 8 led the race to 10 kilometers in 34 minutes, 15 kilometers in 52 minutes, and when they passed the 20-kilometer mark in 1 hour 10, the leaders group was reduced to 4: Jima, fellow Ethiopian Tashe Maru, as well as the Kenyan duo Kellen, Waitira, and Tekla Kirongo. And that quartet remained together for another 20 kilometers. When they reached the 40-kilometer water station, whether it was a mix-up or not in hydrating style, Maru was in front, but Jima soon caught up at the corner and then pulled away. Amazing stuff. And here she is confidently about to make the final corner, and I wonder if this is the first of many winning final corners for her, as if she does do it, and she should from here, then this will be her first title. Whether she breaks her personal best is now off the cards, but I'm sure she won't mind about that today. The fans looking on, and they're all ready with the volunteers for her, and the flags have started waving. That alone should be enough to carry her through, but she's not struggling, so she might just be enjoying her first win at pace. There's the official timing clock, and as you can see, already past her 2:26 personal best time by about a minute, but this will still be good. Coming into the last stretch, the final few steps for her now. She won't forget this memory for the rest of her life. She closes in, and that male runner right next to her. The mascot's waiting for her at the line. The arms are raised, and she crosses the line in 2:28.25, which is still her best time run since 2017. So a great race weekend for Fantajima, her first win to add to those third places. What a great year she is having. Shot of the finish line from above there, and as you can see that the moisture has been building up a lot in this last stage. And here's Tashei Maru, big smile on her face. The 25-year-old, some 24 seconds behind Jimmer in the end, but she had enough in the tank to beat out the Kenyan duo who were tailing her. She finishes second in 2:28.49, improving her personal best by more than 5 minutes. That's a pretty big jump for her. And in third, it's Kirongo. Some might be surprised as she looked like she was having problems midway. She found a second win, stayed with the quartet of leading ladies, and now has finished. She's also cut her personal best by more than 3 minutes as she clocked a 2:29.02 to finish third. And so to the winners ceremony here at the 2019 Dongfeng Reno Wuhan Marathon, and we start with the men first. In third spot, a solid run from Edwin Kiprotu Keoa from Kenya with a time of 2:11.25.76. And in second spot, there he is, Ethiopian Belachu Alameyahu Ameta. He stuck with the pack and his plan and ended up with a 2:10.59. And the winner for today, what an exceptional run he had, finishing over 50 seconds ahead. There he is, Andrew Ben Kimutai, who takes home the title, the trophy, and the prize money, and also makes it a double Kenyan celebration on the men's podium. It's a busy year for these elites. There's World Championships coming up in October in Doha. But even if they didn't qualify for that, then there are plenty of massive marathons coming up in China and around the world, which I'm sure they'll be looking to target as well. So I'm sure we'll be seeing more from these guys in the coming months. Our VIPs on stage now to give them their winners' medals and prizes.
This time, we will invite over awards, guest prize,
and
the
there
medals,
is third place.
welcome medals, and guidance to the athletes.
And on to second place. Belachu gets his medal. And finally, Ben Kimutai gets his winner's medal. Actually looking quite untroubled, Ben, after such a long race. A quick photo op, and the men's competition is almost complete here in Wuhan. Will we see these three on next year's podium? Well, we'll have to wait to find out. For now, we can all take away a great race between these three runners, and we look forward to seeing what they can do and to see if they can get even better over the next few years. That's where it's all taking place, the finishing compound in Happy Valley Cultural Theme Park. All sorts of wonderful activities in there, and I'm sure many of the athletes that have come to visit Wuhan will be staying on there for a few days at least to check out not only this site, but some of the other amazing buildings, bridges, rivers, and areas, some of which we were lucky enough to see today. As you can see, trophies now coming out for the winners. VIPs today that have attended from the Chinese Athletic Association, Hubei Provincial Sports Bureau, and the Wuhan Municipal Government, the three institutions behind this marathon. And even with their tired legs, it's not quite done there, as they have more souvenirs, mementos, and of course their prize checks still to be given to them. So they were expecting to spend some time up there if they won. Here they are receiving that third batch of spoils. That looks like a memento. Andrew as well. And there should be one more round. You can just see them at the side of the screen. That would be the floral wreaths. And of course, after each of these medal ceremonies, there is the chance to take a photo with the elites. Here come the flower wreaths. What a great touch to have. That should be the full set of prizes for each of the winners. one for Belachu, and one for Andrew Ben Kimutai from Kenya.
好，现在我们将会进行一个大合影。现在我们有请3位运动员都站上中间的主舞台。好，现在有请
So as the
周市长
winners get
以及
together on the top
红号
of the
总裁
podium.
莅临左手边。
Here the final results confirmed and verified. Just Ben Kimutai and Belachu breaking 2:10, but Kiwa with a 2:11 means it was a pretty pacey race overall. It was Kimutai's first victory in 4 races in China. Let's hope to see some more. There's the official photo op, and now we just wait for the women who will be taking to the podium after this.
5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Great scenes from Wuhan, and still plenty of people here watching and still competing, of course. We've got to give one last thanks to all the happy runners that took part. They went to such lengths as well, some dressed up in some elaborate costumes. But today, a good number turned up. 24,000 runners in total today took part in the most subscribed marathon event ever in this country. 155,000 people subscribed for it. Unbelievable numbers. And now we are ready for the women's winners ceremony. In third place from Kenya with a time of 2:29:01:67 was Kirongo. Second spot there to Shea Alemu Maru with a time of 2:28:48. And up at the top, after that brilliant pickup in speed in the last 2 kilometers with her first ever marathon title from Ethiopia, Fantu Echicha Jima didn't beat her personal best of 2:26, but came close, clocking a 2:28:48. And as was the case for the men, there should be a number of presentations to them from our VIPs. Just after the photo op, first it should be the medals. There are actually 24,000 medals in this year's Wuhan Marathon in total, consisting of gold medals for full marathon finishers and medals for half marathon finishers and the 13-kilometer happy run finishers as well. All of them carved in 3-dimensional sculptures, with the medals themselves deeply integrated with different elements and designs from around the area, the Yangtze River, the Plum Blossom, Green Lane, Donghu District. Great stuff. And after the medals, and each of these winners should be getting their trophies as well. One more medal left to give, and that is for 31-year-old Fantu Jima. Very happy today. I wonder how many more marathons she's going to be winning. So a quick photo call before they get their trophies. And here comes another one of our VIPs. These trophies also specially designed, as you'd expect. And once again, I think I can see the wreaths being readied by fantastic volunteers here. One more photo op at each stage of the prize giving. Well, this is actually, yes, the mementos that are coming out now. So it should be one more round. Interesting things they have to carry. Very tired, obviously, after the race, but still, if you're on this podium, you get an extra burst of energy, really. Here are the flower wreaths. That should be the final round of presentations. And then the top 3 in the women's full marathon here in Wuhan are free to all get onto that top podium. There they are. And for the photo op, congratulations to all 3. We hope to see them on the winners' podium again in the future. There are the final times for all 3, all sub 2:30. Great runs indeed. And with that, we come to the end of the 2019 Dongfeng Renner Wuhan Marathon. Thanks for joining us this year, and a big thanks to the organizers, the ground staff, and everyone involved in making this happen. We'll see you again next year. For now, it's goodbye from Wuhan.
Welcome our photographers, video friends. Keep 5 seconds. 保持5秒钟。